We're about to start. Just a second. All right, we are live. Okay, we're ready, I think. Very good. So let's start, all right? Thank you very much, as I said, for being here present. I know that your presence is very much valuable, not only for you, but also for me. So thank you, right? Well, so as I told you, we're going to play for the third task. As I can see, well, more people are joining us, so better. We'll have a more didactic practice tonight. So let me just, right? Okay, fantastic. So I think that everybody can listen to me now. Very good. So as I was mentioning to all of you, we're going to practice for the third task of the speaking section. So please, if you are not in a quiet space where nobody's going to bother you, I don't know, maybe your grandma comes and well, wants you to help her with, I don't know, with whatever she's doing, please go to another place so that she doesn't bother you or any other people, right? And let me just start with this. So let me open this, and now here. Okay, so we're gonna read passages. Remember that yesterday I told you these passages are about academic subjects. So today we're gonna have a very varied diversity of topics, and all of them are going to be related to scientific topics, right? So let me just start with this. Speaking task number 3, and let's go. Okay, very good. So please let us start with this one. Okay, the decline of Greco-Roman ideals in art will be our first passage. So I'm gonna just take it here, I press copy, and I'm gonna send it to the chat box. Remember that here it's a little bit difficult and uncomfortable for me to let you read from my screen. So better if you just read it in the chat box. So where's the chronometer? It's here. I'll close this. It's not actually necessary. There we are. Okay, how much for reading this? 4 or 5 seconds, all right? So please, all of you, start reading the passage about the decline of Greco-Roman ideals of beauty now. Okay, 4 or 5 seconds are over. Now it's time for us to listen to a lecture on the same topic, all right? So please, all of you, start taking your notes, grab your piece of paper and also your pencil. And remember that notes are, well, of incomparable importance in this part, all right? Awesome. Let us wait for Camila. She's rejoining. All right, fantastic. Camila is already here. So let's start, right? We're going to listen to a lecture on the topic of the decline of Greco-Roman ideals of beauty. Let's listen to what the professor says.
Now listen to part of a lecture in a class focusing on the history of modern art.
Now, scholars sometimes like to say that in the 20th century, art based on Greco-Roman ideals of beauty and physical perfection fell totally out of favor thanks to the work of pioneering critics like Roger Fry. But today, I'm going to argue that this is actually an oversimplification. Now, paintings in the 20th century certainly became more abstract than at any other time in history. But in some ways, this had nothing to do with the work of professional critics, like Roger Fry. I mean, I think it can be convincingly argued that the change in style was simply due to the invention of the camera. See, it was no longer necessary to turn to professional portrait painters to have one's picture taken. And for this reason, there was a gradual decrease in the number of students who went to painting school. It was simply no longer important to spend years mastering technical painting. And instead, it became possible to produce highly abstract works meant to express, well, ideas. However, many of these ideas still had to do with the age-old Greco-Roman ideals. For example, Manet's painting, Luncheon on the Grass, which is sometimes called the first modern painting, it actually used images originally copied from an ancient Roman coffin. Pablo Picasso, a great abstract artist, also created several paintings reacting to Greek mythology. And, to this day, advertisers and filmmakers often turn to Greco-Roman notions of beauty in order to entice audiences. In fact, many modern artists have reacted to too much abstraction in modern art and are returning to classical Greek and Roman themes in their work. So, the Greco-Roman tradition in art is far from dead.
Using the points and examples from the lecture, explain how artistic standards changed in the 20th century.
Okay, very good. So we have now listened to this lecture on, well, Greco-Roman ideals of beauty. And well, it's time for you to prepare your responses, all right? So please look at my screen. Here you're gonna have your 30 seconds available for you to use them. So please start, all of you, preparing your responses now. All right, so Camila says that the internet kicked me out many times. We only hear the passage. Yeah, I mean, we listened to the passage, but we also read the reading passage. Let me send it to you one more time, dear Camila. Okay, and don't worry about it because you're gonna have time to read it. You're gonna be the last person to respond. Okay, so please read it and have your time in order to prepare the response. Okay, don't worry. There is in the chat box. Okay, fantastic. All right, so who's gonna start? Let's see. All right, Paulina, you're gonna help me, okay? Yeah, you're welcome, dear Camila. It's fine. Fanka. All right, there you are. Okay, so please, dear Paulina. So please start delivering your response now.
Okay, in the reading passage, we have immersed into the topic about critics' works for arts based on the Greco-Roman ideas of a beautiful represented achievements. Instead, by it is power to include ideas or emotions or different feelings. Likewise, in the listening passage, 20th century idea is about beauty, physical perfections, and today it is art or simplification that become more abstraction than the history or that call of attention about history. And also the first lecture point, professionals change the style in changing camera or gradual students paints in the school. And the second lecture point is about ideals.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much, Paulina. Okay, there you are. Okay, so Lucia, please, you're gonna continue with the exercise, all right? So please, dear Lucia, start, enable your microphone, please, and start responding to the question now.
In the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of Greco-Roman ideals of beauty, and philosophical views changed on how the Greco-Roman ideals of beauty was seen. They center on the power to evoke strong ideas and emotions, and not in the standards that were before. And likewise, in the listening passage, we see the standards about Greco-Roman ideals of beauty and how it was seen. It was a simplification. It was more abstract than other time in history, and also changed the style on how it was because of the camera. And for example, in the modern painting, used images copying from before. For example, Picasso painted their paintings were inspiring in Greek mythology.
Great. Thank you very much, Lucia. Fantastic. Okay. Let's continue with Nathalie. Please, Nathalie, you're going to be the third one, all right? So please, Nathalie, start responding to this question now.
Okay, in the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of that European critics believe that the work of art were based on Greco-Roman ideals of beauty. And likewise, in the listening passage, the teacher says that in the 20th century, philosophical views concerning to art significantly changed. Why? This is due for our simplification and abstract than any other time, and this was due because of the invention of the camera, and that completely changed the idea. So there was less students in painting school, so there was no need to spend a lot of years for something that now changed because of the invention of the camera.
All right, thank you very much, Nathalie. Fantastic. And finally, let's close this round with Camila, right? So please, hear Camila, and then with your microphone and start responding to the question.
I will try.
Yes. Okay.
I will try.
All right. Fantastic. No, it's fine. No worries. So please start responding to the question now.
On the passage, we were immersed to the topic of art in the 19th century, as it was believed that art was based on Greco-Roman ideas. And likewise, the author says in the passage that paintings in the 20th century became more abstract, as it was a simplification by changing and amplifying the use of the camera. That's it.
That's okay. It's okay. Thank you very much. Very good. There you are. Okay, great. So let me give you some feedback, okay? To all of you individually. Well, starting with Paulina, I think it's fantastic. You know, I'm very much glad to see how your level has exponentially improved lately, and I think that, well, the only thing that I could observe in this response is that, of course, you had some troubles with including the second point of the lecture within a response that is just 1 minute long. But anyways, apart from that, it's fantastic. The clearness, how concise is the response as well, and how natural it feels when connected. Fantastic, very good. The same for Lucia. No commentaries, it was just a great response. Well, fantastic summaries, and also I like how you how you are very much definite with your points. That is to say, you never seem redundant, but you always go straight forward to the to the point. Fantastic. The same for Nathalie. Thank you very much. It was a fantastic response as well. With your own words explaining the passage, summarizing it, not including information apart from that. Incredible, very good. And for Camila as well, as I say, like, of course, you had some times in reading the passage because of the internet, but anyways, it was a fantastic summary. 30 seconds of tremendously well summarized reading passage and also listening. So fantastic. All right, very good. Well, let's go with one more, right? We are here to practice. So let's continue. There we are. Let's see what we can do with this one. So altruism, we're gonna read this one. All right. Let's see what we can do here. All right, altruism. Let's start. So I have just pasted the, oh, sorry, here to everyone. Okay, so I have just pasted the chat box, well, in the chat box, excuse me, the reading passage for this particular exercise. So please, you can read it there. And now, let me just start with your 4 or 5 seconds to read it, okay? So please, all of you, start reading this passage about altruism in the animal kingdom now. Okay, there you are. Fantastic. So time to listen to the passage, okay? Let's see what we can, well, grasp in this particular lecture. So let's start with it. And don't forget to take your notes, all right? Very important. Let's start now.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic you've just read about.
The idea that altruism is a uniquely human characteristic that cannot be found in nature might be popular among certain philosophers, but it really has little basis in fact. Actually, altruism is relatively common in the animal kingdom. Well, for example, in certain families of squirrels, when a predator, say like a fox, comes around, the squirrels are known to shriek out to warn their family members about the danger, even if the noise makes them targets for the predator. Similarly, when a herd of, say, wildebeests is attacked, well, stronger members of the pack will try to trample the threat rather than let the young and weak get picked off, even if this subjects them to danger. So what is the reason for all of this? Evolutionarily speaking, it seems like a puzzle, right? I mean, why would evolution favor the development of altruistic behaviors that might endanger individual life? The answer is it's a bit complicated, but essentially the answer is that by protecting the entire community, including several relatives, the altruistic animal ensures that the community's genes as a whole can still be passed on. Well, in other words, if a single squirrel dies after, say, shrieking at a fox, but the entire community is spared, well, that means that from a collective perspective, the community's fitness is increased by having altruistic behaviors associated with its members.
Using the points and examples given in the lecture, explain how altruism may be a beneficial characteristic for some animals.
Great. Okay. Now, please, it's time for us to start with the 30 seconds of preparation. So, well, all of you have been able to read and also to listen this time, all right? So please, all of you, dear students, start preparing your responses now. Great. Okay, fantastic. So let us start, all right? Lucia, please, Lucia, you're going to help me, okay? You're going to be the first one for this round. So please set up your microphone and help me delivering your response for this question. now.
In the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of altruism, which is helping with no other intention selflessly. This can be expected to be in the humanity and the animals as well. Although the last mentioned is not to be so expected because of their genes and behavior. And likewise, in the listening passage, altruism can be found in humanity and animal kingdom. For example, there's the squirrels are known to warn their families members when they are in danger, and the reason is because they want that the genes of them can be passed to the next generation, and they think in a collective perspective.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, dear Lucia. Natalie, please, you're going to be the second one this time. Okay, so please have everything prepared and start responding to the question now.
In the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of altruism, which is a fairly common among humans, but it's surprisingly found in animals as well. Likewise, in the listening passage, it says that this characteristic is unique in humans, but it can also be found in nature. So, as for example, the squirrels, when they see a predator, they warn their family about the danger. So the reason why a lot of animals have this characteristic is because this group of animals understand that it's better to all of them to be safe than only one of them.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Awesome. Please, here, Camila, you're going to continue, right, with the exercise. So please have your microphone ready and start responding to the question now.
On the passage, we are immersed to the topic of altruism, and it is the act of not being selfish. In the passage, it mentions that people and animals apply this action, but it is most commonly seen by humans, as it is a natural instinct rather than animals that they most use their sense of survival. Likewise, in the listening passage, it says that even though it's more applied to humans, it is also commonly seen in animals. Evolution favors the development of altruism by protecting the community as it benefits the species itself, like the example of squirrels that the genetic is passed with the generations.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Very, very good. Okay, and let us finalize with Paulina. Okay, Paulina, so please start responding to this question now.
In the reading passage, we have immersed into the altruism, humanity, animal kingdoms, and also it is to selflessly surprised, and it is carried out with other. And likewise, in the listening passage, human characteristics, the basis and fact, altruism is an animal kingdom. Our facts come around family members, and they will try even if suggested or dangerous. And also the visionary altruism behavior, individual life is complicated by protecting the community, and also genes is a whole entire the community, and is fair and increase altruism associated by these members.
All right, thank you very much. Fantastic. Thank you, Paulina. Very good. Okay, so let me just start with the feedback. Well, I think that I should start with Lucia, as she was the first one. Well, fantastic. I think it was very good, a very good response. You managed to offer a great summary. Now, maybe in this case, I noticed that maybe you spent and invested too much time on the summary of the reading passage. Nonetheless, I guess it was, I don't know, a matter that happened because you were very much concerned about explaining what altruism is, and of course, laying down the, let's say, the theme, or well, the background and context for the discussion in the listening passage, but nonetheless, it was fantastic anyways, because you managed to include your response later on in the, I don't know, something like 15 or 20 seconds you had for talking about the listening section. You offer an incredible summary, and I think that is what made your response as effective as effective as before, even when, as I say, you spend more time here in the listening, in the reading part. But anyways, fantastic. Let me now discuss Nathalie. It was also fantastic. Here, for example, maybe I found a little expression that I would like to comment on, and that would be to be founded, right? When you say to be founded, I guess you mean ser encontrado, right? And of course that well, that makes sense, but how you express it will be to be found, right? Because founded is just fundado, like founding a company or founding, let's say, I don't know, ONG or whatever. But found is encontrado in any sense you want to speak it in the past tense, whether it is I don't know, past perfect or even past simple. It is always found. All right. But anyways, that is the only thing. Apart from that, very, very good as always. Fantastic, dear Nathalie. Camila, fantastic as well. I think I don't have any particular or specific to comment upon. I think it was incredible, and here I think that, well, the summary was very fluent, as I don't know, as if somebody who knows a lot of this topic would be also speaking. Oh, fantastic. And finally, Paulina as well, incredible, very, very good summary as well. I think that, as I said, you explain it with your own words, and that is everything you need. So very good. All right, there you are. Let us continue with one more, if you agree. Let me just open this. Oh, sorry. Okay. This is, in my opinion, a very intriguing topic, hypnotherapy. So let's see what you can discover about it. Hypnotherapy, we're gonna see. All right, hypnotherapy. Let's see what this is about. Okay, hypnotherapy. So let's start with this one. And okay, 4 or 5 seconds here in the clock. So please, dear students, start reading this passage now. Okay, so as you can see, the time for you to read the passage is over. Now let us get into the lecture. All right. Let us listen to what this professor says about the topic, hypnotherapy. And always, as I say, try to take your notes and also to start thinking about your summary of the reading passage, even when you have not listened to this material as well. I think that sometimes the 30 seconds are, well, I don't know, too in a small quantity of time for you to think about everything. So it would be incredible if you finalize to read the passage before the 45 seconds are over, and you start working on your summary of the reading passage. And then when you come here, you have that already prepared, and in the 30 seconds you have, you simply organize what the listening said. And then, of course, you combine it and mix it so that in your response, you have a very integrated response, right? Ironically, that's the reason why this is called integrated, right? Because you integrate two different materials. All right, let's listen.
Now listen to part of a lecture from a psychology class.
Hypnosis is controversial for several reasons. First, not everyone can actually be hypnotized. I mean to say, only certain types of people are able to fall completely under the power of a hypnotist's suggestions. But at the same time, a lot of patients are eager to please their therapists. So for this reason, patients might be likely to pretend to be hypnotized, when in reality they're wildly improvising. That means hypnotherapy leads to false positives, times when patients exaggerate the effects. People make up memories, totally false information that they otherwise wouldn't have said, just so in order to make it seem like the hypnotism is working. And it gets worse. Sometimes hypnosis might create false psychological problems. For example, these days, a lot of people question whether split personality disorder, or as it's actually called, dissociative identity disorder, whether this disease in which people have multiple personalities, it's questioned whether this is a disease that is found in nature or whether psychiatrists themselves basically created the disorder. It's thought that when psychiatrists questioned patients suffering from trauma and used hypnosis, they sometimes bombarded them with leading questions. Then these questions basically implanted the idea of split personalities where it didn't even exist before. No one stopped to think that the hypnosis might only reinforce made-up behavior by giving patients an excuse, a scapegoat. Many times, for example, people claim to have been suffering from dissociative identity disorder to avoid being held liable in court for crimes allegedly committed by their other personalities.
Using the points and examples given in the lecture, explain why hypnotherapy has proven to be a controversial form of treatment.
All right. The mention of this dissociative disease remembers me of this movie Split. Have you watched it? It's very interesting, right? I think it's exactly what they meant in this lecture, or well, the psychological condition they were discussing. But anyways, let us listen to, well, now let us prepare our responses, okay, for this question. Remember, summarize the reading and also the listening passage, okay? But start please preparing that particular response now. There you are. So please, dear, in this case, Nathalie, you're going to help me, okay, with this one. We're going to start it. So please, dear Nathalie, have your microphone prepared, all right? And start please responding to this question now.
Okay, in the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of hypnotherapy, which is using hypnosis for clinical purposes. Likewise, in the listening passage, the teacher says that it's controversial because certain type of people can be hypnotized because, and this leads the people to pretend that they are under the treatment while they are just improvising. So that is unfair because certain people claim to have a disorder in order to declare innocent in front of a judge.
Yeah, fantastic. You know what happened, Nathalie, that I think accidentally pressed this button that is 30 seconds. But anyways, I think that you completed the response, right? At the end, you realized it. Anyways, fantastic. It was very, very good. Again, so sorry. I just pressed the incorrect one, but incredible, fantastic. I think that even with less time, you just managed to offer a perfect response, okay? Very, very good. Camilla, you're going to follow up, okay? So please, dear Camilla, turn on your microphone and start responding to this question now.
On the passage, we were immersed to the topic of hypnotherapy. It explains that it's work by coaxing patients into a dream-like state and encouraging people to believe in certain things that now not always is true. This is mostly used for medical appointments. However, this is not always reliable as it not always works for everyone. Likewise, in the listening passage, the author says it's controversial as not everyone can fall into hypnosis. Hypnotherapy can create a false idea. Some people develop diseases such as disorientation of personalities due to hypnosis.
Great. Thank you very much, Camila. Fantastic. Let's continue with Paulina. Okay, Paulina. Please start responding to this question now.
Hypnotherapy has fallen out of favors or practice individuals causing patients and encourage them to follow orders. This open communication led to the popularity of practice. Likewise, in the listening passage, it is controversial because a type of people are able to complete difficult type of people, or difficult type of people are able to complete different patients to pretend outside the reality. People make members, they create some psychological problems and personality disorder, and also it has a multiple. It includes having different personalities, something like trauma, impatience, with some ideas that they wanna stop, and also, for example, people plan to avoid problems.
Very good. No, very good. Thank you, Paulina. Thank you very much. It was very good. And let's finalize this round with our dear Lucia. Okay, so please, Lucia, start responding to this question now.
In the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of the use of hypnosis in the psychiatric context, inducing patients into a state of dreaming and make them spontaneously say memories from their past, although they sometimes cannot be reliable. Likewise, in the listening passage, we see that it claims that people don't fall into this practice that easily, and sometimes they pretend, which makes this hypnosis not reliable and questionable. In addition to this, psychiatrists sometimes set a lot of questions and induce them to split personality. For example, these patients sometimes claim at court they suffer from this disease diagnosed by the hypnotherapy, and it's not well. It's a not well used practice.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much. Well, as I said, very much bothered that I don't have any negative aspect to comment upon your responses. I'm just kidding, but fantastic. I just personally, I find out that your responses are very good. All right. I personally enjoy very much Nathalie's response this time as well, because even with just 30 seconds, she also managed to deliver a fantastic response. As I say, perfectly summarizing every single topic, but fantastic. And all of you as well, Paulina, Lucia, and Camila. I don't have anything to say. I just enjoyed your responses. And if I found it that way, well, also please expect that your reviewer on the exam schools is also going to find it that way. Okay. But anyways, let us just continue. All right. Okay, fantastic. So let us go with another one. Let's see what this topic is all about. Is this time about cultural impacts of climate change? All right, I guess this could be a lesson on, I don't know, geology, or I don't know. Yeah, I guess geology. Well, anyways, there you are. Well, fantastic. So that's the passage. Okay, it's in a chat box for you to read it with me. And now please let us start with this 45 seconds for you to prepare your reading passage summary. Okay, let's go and start reading now. Okay, there you are. So please now, let us listen to the lecture on the same topic.
Now listen to part of a lecture from a class on ancient history.
Climate change hasn't always been seen as such a major factor on how we've progressed, how culture has developed, but more and more we're finding that it does play a major role. Let's take the example of Egypt. The country today is harshly divided between the Sahara Desert, where basically nothing grows, and the area around the Nile River Valley, which is still one of the most fertile places on the whole planet. But the thing is, we're now discovering that the landscape of Egypt was not always divided in that way. Instead, until the 4th millennium BCE, the desert of Egypt was actually a rich, prosperous area of fields and farmable meadows. There were societies living away from the Nile, successfully farming or getting by in a place that would later be completely uninhabitable. But then, of course, the climate changed and the Sahara Desert formed. That meant people were forced to move to the Nile Valley to survive because there were no more fields to cultivate or animals to hunt. So right, you can imagine their culture had to adapt as they moved to a new area, a new climate. But it doesn't stop there. The Nile Valley was already settled. So these newcomers fleeing the desert, they evidently fought the people already living in the valley. And we see that from the construction of these giant defensive walls for the first time in history. So right, people joined together behind these walls and formed cities to protect themselves. This was a large interaction between communities, deeply affecting the local culture. The changing landscape was at the heart of that change.
Explain how the lecturer's claims give a concrete example of climate change's effect on culture.
Great. All right. Let's see what we can respond about this one. Okay. So please, all of you dear students, to start preparing your responses now. All right. Well, Camila, you're going to help me with this one, okay? You're going to start with this round. So please have your microphone ready and please start delivering your response now.
On the passage, we were immersed to the topic of climate change. It mentions that throughout history, there has been variations in weather patterns and long-term transformations of the environment, and this is due to human civilizations. Archaeologists, geologists, historians, and meteorologists are working to find a solution for this. Likewise, in the listening passage, it mentions that people have been continually having to adapt to the nature changes as they are continually destroyed.
I guess something happened. Are you there, Camila?
Finish.
Oh, you finished?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fine then. Okay, very good. So let's see what Paulina has to say. Okay, dear Paulina, please start responding to the question now.
Okay, in the reading passage, we have immersed into the topic about climate change. Now, it is not a modern phenomenon that shows variation in the weather and transformation with the environment. And also that climate closely tied to our productivity with the land. And likewise, in the listening passage, the climate change, culture, developed areas or places, landscape was always tried to divide it and could be rich or prosper, productivity, and pharmacy getting by into the climate change. And also it will be able to survive or cultivate how the product, the a specific area, people joins together to protect themselves in interaction and with communities.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paulina. Lucia, those are going to be the third one, all right? So start, please, responding to the question now.
In the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of the evidence of climate change that can be seen throughout history, with slight variations in weather and the environment, which led to revolutions in the world culture. And likewise, in the listening passage, it claims that the climate change plays a major role. For example, in Egypt, deserts where nothing grows, and before the landscapes were divided, when people were able to live there and farming it. And in addition to this, the culture had to adapt to the climate changes. For example, the construction of big and defensive walls where people joined there and formed cities inside of them.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lucia. And let us finalize with our dear Natalie, okay? So please, dear Natalie, start responding to this question now.
In the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of climate change, and with new evidence shows that throughout the history, weather patterns and long-term transformations were responsible of revolutions in world culture. Likewise, in the listening passage, it says that climate change plays an important role in not only in environment but also in society. For example, Egypt is divided into deserts and valleys, but it wasn't always divided like that. There was a rich area of fields and valleys, but climate change transformed this, and the civilization had to adapt.
Awesome. Thank you very much. No, I am very much impressed with regard to how good you are managing your time with your students. I think that, well, just with your group, I find the students that are capable of offering excellent summaries without actually using the entire minute. And that is, well, something to certainly praise you for, because, well, it's not very easy to deliver such a wonderful summary in less than 1 minute. So congratulations to all of you, right? Fantastic. I want you to practice one more before you go. So let us go quickly to one more example of this task, all right? So that you can have a series of, well, of practices that is well sustained and very much numbered. Okay, let us get into this and let's practice the last one, okay? So here you can please see my screen, and if you look at it, you're gonna find a new passage, right? But this is the operational people we read right last time. So let us now practice with a new one, that is this one, behavior modification. So please, all of you, dear students, to start reading this. I'm gonna take my my cell phone and I will basically calculate your time through it, right? So start, all of you, reading this passage now. Okay, 4 or 5 seconds are over. Now, please, all of us, let us listen to this lecture on behavior modification.
Now listen to part of a lecture on the topic in a psychology class. This happens all the time with kids in schools. Say there's a little boy or girl who's just starting school. Well, they're not really used to the rules about proper behavior for a classroom. So at the beginning they might, I don't know, interrupt the teacher, walk around the classroom when they're supposed to be sitting down, just misbehaving in general. Okay, but what happens? Well, the teacher gets angry with them when they act this way. They might get punished. They have to sit at their desks when everyone else is allowed to go outside and play. And they certainly don't like that. Soon, they'll learn that this kind of behavior gets them in trouble. They'll also learn that when they raise their hand to talk to the teacher and sit quietly and pay attention during class, they're rewarded. The teacher tells them she's proud of them and maybe puts little happy face stickers on their homework. Now that their behavior gets a good reaction from the teacher, the kids learn to always act this way in class and not behave the way they used to.
All right, there you are. So please, now that we have finalized with this, let us all of us start with our preparation for the responses now. Great, awesome. All right, so let's see the responses. Paulina, you're going to be the first one, okay? So please start responding to this question now.
In the reading passage, we have immersed into the I don't know. Oh, sorry. Can I repeat again?
Yes.
I have
Yeah,
a
why
lot
not?
of notes. And I get lost. Okay.
All right, so please start then responding now.
Okay, in the reading passage, we have immersed into individuals usually modify their behavior on what they have learned about consequence of their actions. And the result of these actions, like to be a repeat behavior modification, could be observed by experiments. And in the listening passage, the rules about behavior in the classroom are important because the teacher gets angry when the students had a bad behavior and they don't apply the different rules inside the classroom, and it is complicated to have a control of them. But when students have a good behavior, the teacher tells that is good, and she's proud of them about their good behavior.
Great, thank you, Paulina. Lucia, you're going to continue, right? Please start responding to the question now.
In the reading passage, we've been immersed into the topic of behavior modifications. It claimed that people often change their behavior when they learn the consequences of their actions. And when it's a positive result, they tend to repeat that behavior. And when it's a negative result, they tend to not commit that action again. Likewise, in the listening passage, it gives us the example of, for example, when kids or students walk around the classroom when they should pay attention to the teacher gets angry, and when they act this way, and they tend to get punished. And on the other hand, when the students raise their hand, they get rewarded, and it's and the teacher gets a good reaction. So kids tend to act in a good manner because of that.
Great, thank you very much. Natalie, please start responding to the question now.
Okay, in the reading passage, we've been immersed into a topic called behavior modification, and it's when an individual modifies their behavior based on what they have learned about the possible consequences. So, for example, in the listening passage, kids and schools. So kids are not used to the rules. So in the first day they begin to interrupt the teacher while throughout the class. So the teacher gets angry and give a punishment. So this behavior leads to a trouble, and kids try to not repeat this. And they learn that a good action leads to a good reaction.
Awesome, fantastic. And finalize, please, dear Camila, with this round, starting now.
On the reading passage, we were immersed to the topic of behavior modification. It mentions that behavior is learned by the consequences it takes. For example, if you act correct, you will repeat your behavior, but on the other hand, if you act wrong, you will be forced to not repeat that action. Likewise, in the listening passage, it mentions and examples that behavior starts in schools, mostly by kids, that they are learning how to behave by having small punishments when they behave bad, which makes them learn what is correct and what's not, and behave well, and the next time they will obey what is expected to from at the beginning.
Great, awesome, fantastic. So as I say, I like how all of you are able to finalize this response in less than 1 minute. I assure you that is a huge problem for other people, but I see that all of you are able to do it, right? So incredible, very, very good, dear students, all right? So before we go, let me give a gift. I was working on this earlier. What is it? Okay, it's here. No, it's here. There you are. It's well, it's basically a summary of what we have been discussing this week, but it also contains extra practice and materials for you to receive them and well practice whenever you have free time. All right. So I'm just sending it, and just in case you want to have something to do this weekend. All right. Well, we're going to stop the class here, and please, I'm going to take your assistance, and please, all of you, help me with the traditional poll that we always feel. Right. You know, you help me a lot. Let's see. Now let's continue with this. If you have any question, please feel free to express it, all right? Any commentary as well. Here as well. All right. So is here present our dear Guadalupe Guzman? She wasn't. Sonia Raquel? Nathalie?
Present.
Thank you very much, Nathalie. What about John Ariel? Well, there's nothing here. Grados Lucia?
Present.
Thank you very much, Lucia. What about Camila Reyes?
Present.
Thank you, Camila. Paulina Yasmin?
Present.
Thank you very much, Yasmin. And finally, Alexander, that has not been here, sadly. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, dear students, for your responses. It was a huge, well, excitement for me to listen to your responses. I'm very content with your performance. And next week, we're gonna discuss a new topic. So please, all of you go and have some fun and rest now that you have practiced and performed so well. All right, so thank you very much and have a wonderful night.
Thank you, teacher. Have a great night. Take care.
Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.
Thank you, teacher.